Hello, good evening, and welcome back. As we say quite often on this channel, about homeschooling should be a reasonable and accepted alternative, and perhaps even should be the standard, that by all means they are your children, and until they are able to decide what is best for themselves, then you as a parent are responsible for them, and that would include their education as well. Of course, they are your responsibility, and becoming a parent is a great responsibility, and that includes their education to get them in the best point possible for the future. That it has particularly been brought to light given the response to coronavirus from governmental lockdowns, and with that being online teaching and now trying to get children back in school, the idea is that it's better for them to learn because they're in a more suitable environment, and they're also encouraging their social interactions with people the same age. That you have, of course, still got the project fear initially in order to lock everybody inside, has still been working a bit too well, as we see with the lady in question here, Katie Simpson, where it says mother of two, 29, is threatened with prison and a £2,500 fine for refusing to send her children to school over fears she'll die from coronavirus. That she is concerned, given her health conditions, as they go on to say here, that Miss Simpson has type 1 diabetes, asthma, and an underactive thyroid, which classes her as clinically vulnerable under NHS guidelines. She's barely left the house since lockdown was first introduced in March, and only to shop for food once a week. So, of course, she's trying to do what she thinks is best for herself. She is incredibly scared of the virus, given how it has been portrayed, and has done everything that she can to keep herself away from human interaction as much as possible. However, given that she is a single parent, and that's the first mistake there, she is too concerned about being able to send her children to school because they could get it, be asymptomatic, not have much of an issue, even though her son does have asthma, so she's concerned of him as well. But they could get it and then pass it to her, and she would die. However, she does not seem to be of the realization that she could simply deregister her children from the school, and that could be done very straightforwardly by telling the teachers of the school of her decision, and then they would inform the education authorities. It would then be down to her in order to teach her children. And of course, that is incredibly difficult as a single mother, given that you have to be able to financially support yourself and your children and the home that you're living in. You have to be responsible for that, and then also be the teacher for your children. However, if that is the decision that you have made, if you have especially two children and the partner isn't there is not a father figure in the children's life, and there is nobody that you can rely on for financial support, then that was your decision. And if you wish to homeschool your children for whatever reason, it could be that you do not want them indoctrinated, or it could be that you're afraid of a virus. For whatever reason that is, it is your decision to make, and by all means make that decision. However, the issue here is that she seems to not want to have to worry about educating the children herself, in which case she doesn't wish to deregister. There could, of course, be more online work to be done and try to make it work that way, but as it stands, as children have to go back to school, that what she's been given is a visit by an education welfare officer who handed her a court warning letter. They're saying if she does not return her children to school, she could be fined £2,500 and sent to jail for up to 3 months. She's saying that even then, she would not wish to return her children to school because she does not want to get the virus herself, because she is adamant that she would definitely die. Of course, being sent to prison for 3 months would most likely then put her at risk as well, and she would also die. But the simple solution: deregister from schools, and then you are responsible for your children's education. As long as they meet a particular standard, you do have to be open and transparent about what your children are learning in order to ensure that there isn't a child protective issue there, as the idea is to avoid child abuse, which is a difficult balancing act to ensure that the government isn't encroaching on your family life too much, but also to try and protect the very few and unfortunate children that have sadistic or ignorant or malicious parents, but it is there to try and protect them nonetheless. So, seems to be a bit of an overreaction from the school, but it is from the 1996 Education Act, which said the parents can be ruled to have broken the law if their child fails to regularly attend school and there was no reasonable justification. It also seems to be a bit of an overreaction from the mother in question, but thankfully there is a simple solution as long as she's willing to take responsibility for her children to a greater extent. But as always, let me know what you guys think down below of how feasible is homeschooling as a single parent, and is that therefore something that just should have been considered earlier on in the child's life of how is this going to work if I am a single parent? Or do you think, well, no, there should be other options, especially given that the government decided to impose these lockdown orders and make people feel a particular way, that if they've said that it's dangerous and you should fear it, that everything is not fine, fear it, then they should try and rectify that a bit more so than they have done already, because their backtracking isn't good enough in order to get people to be reassured that there isn't a problem anymore. Either way, let me know down below. Always intrigued to hear what you have to say. And as always, like, comment, share, subscribe, all the good stuff. Really helps out the YouTube algorithm, and you'll be doing me a great favour. And as always, until next time, have a good one.